Hi, my name is Whittier, and I'm going to tell you a true story. I'm a writer, and I like to write in all different kinds of places. I like to write in parks, and gardens, and the woods, and on the beach, and at my desk. All these places incite different ideas into my head. This one day I woke up and I wanted to go to a park called Felipe Park. I had heard of its beauty. I packed up all my things and I went there and I saw the path that I wanted to take. Now, I took my wheelchair out of the car. I took my motor out of the car. I took my backpack full of my laptop, my phone, and my precious books that give me ideas on what to write. And I put that on my back of my wheelchair. I was ready. I hopped on and I found that path that I wanted to see. Oh, there was mighty oak trees on the right side of me that had Spanish moss that danced in the wind. So beautiful. And to my left, there was nothing but water. There was nothing in between me and Tampa Bay except for this 6-inch seawall. I was in the perfect place. I could watch the birds eat their lunch. I set off on this trail and I hit a root and I counterbalanced. I was used to hitting roots. I go out into the woods a lot, so it was no big deal. And as I was going on this trail, I noticed it was becoming narrower as I went along. So I decided to be a little cautious and maybe to back up instead of get stuck farther. I put my motor in reverse. There was no space to turn around. I put my motor in reverse and I started going backwards. I noticed that my wheel was being scraped by the 6-inch wall. So I maneuvered my wheelchair so that it was off the wall about 2 inches. And I continued back. Now, those 2 inches that I had scooted over made that root just a little bit higher. So when I backed over the root, I wasn't thinking about counterbalancing. And I realized just as I hit the root that my motor and my wheelchair were tipping too far. And I put my hand down on the seawall, but the momentum of the 40-pound motor and the 40-pound chair and my body were just too much, and I couldn't hold it. And I reached over and I think I did my first cartwheel ever. The next thing I knew, I was sitting in Tampa Bay, sitting in my wheelchair as if nothing had happened. I was even facing the same way. I sat there making sure that I was safe. The seawall was right there. Tampa was still over there. My body felt okay. I stood on the chair, and as I stood on the chair in the water, my nose came up to the seawall, and I was able to yell, "Help!" A bicyclist had heard me. She turned around. She ran down the hill as I waved, and a jogger saw me, and she started running a little bit faster. I told them that I was okay and that they didn't need to run. I explained that I had a wheelchair under the water and a motor, and I needed to get these up. So I dove down under the water and I disconnected the motor and I took the 40-pound motor over my head and I gave it to the women. I reached down and I locked the wheels of my wheelchair and I lifted my wheelchair over my head and again to the women. I don't know where I got the strength. The next problem we had was getting me up and over that 7-foot wall. One of the women had taken a walk farther down the path, and she said there were rocks that led closer to the top of the wall. So I went down there, and she said that the rocks would be slick, and I was happy that she told me that because I was having a hard time. I told these two women as I got to the top of the rock pile, the seawall was just to my hips. I told them that I had spastic cerebral palsy and bad hips, and I would not be able to help them lift me up. Those two women grabbed my shoulders, grabbed under my arms, and they heaved me up like a fish, and they plopped me in the sand, face down. I've never been so happy to be in the sand face down. I laid there for a minute, and the two women sat down with me. When I was ready, I got to my knees. They asked me how I was, and I said that I was kind of embarrassed. And you know what they said back to me? They said, don't be embarrassed. You're amazing. You're out here doing what you want to do. Never, never stop that. We all laughed, and I had a smile from ear to ear. And I told them that at least now we go home with a story. There is community out there. There are good people. Thank you.